Investment banking interviews. There's two types. The first one is bulge bracket. Let's call these firms that do at least $300 million deals, because despite what they tell you, firms will come down in market because those are still very significant fees. So we'll call it $300 million deals and up, all the way to the multi-billion dollar deals you see in the Wall Street Journal and on CNBC. We're not talking about those. You can get those questions in a Vault guide. They're easy enough. Maybe I'll do another video on those. But today I want to talk about middle market investment banking interviews. I think they're much more interesting. So middle market investment banking, these are companies that will do deals at the very low end. Let's call it $10 million. That's quite a small fee though. So we'll talk about enterprise values, which are 25 million and up. Let's call it to 10 times that, to about $250 million deals. Those are sizable deals. You'll get good fees on all of those. All of those should be 7-figure fees and even 8-figure fees as you get into the multiple $100 million size. So what types of questions should you expect? It depends at what level. Let's assume you're coming in as an analyst. So what amazes me is I'll get really pedigreed interesting candidates. They have good applications, they have good recommendations, and so after making pleasantries, the very first question I love to ask is, walk me through an income statement. Should be easy. So anybody knows that the basic headlines for an income statement are revenue less your cost of goods sold equals your gross profit minus your operating expenses equals your net profit. And so anybody, basically, freshmen in college should be able to walk you through that. The amount of times I've more or less decided right then and there to end an interview because a candidate could not walk me through the basics of what an income statement were, let alone how to model one, just made it impossible to believe. So number one, know what the elements of an income statement are. So there are trick questions like show me depreciation on a balance sheet, things like that. Be ready for the trick questions, but that's just basic accounting. Now, one of my favorites is a case study interview. And so here, the question I always like to ask, and this one was asked of me when I was interviewing also, was tell me what an airplane weighs. So of course, really, we don't care what an airplane weighs. The reason we're asking for this is we want to see how you think. Can you break things up into assumptions that are defendable? And can you source those assumptions? Therefore, do you think like somebody who, when going through the rigors of due diligence, would have a model that could stand up to that test? Last thing the MD wants to do, basically, is to have to go through the work of the analyst, the associate, the VP, and tear apart their model. We do it anyway, but we're hoping not to spend a whole lot of time doing that. So, an example of how to answer that question. What kind of airplane is it? So let's say it's a 747. So I'll say it's a 747. All right, do I get to just look this up on Google, or do I have to give you your elements? Obviously, you can't look it up on Google. It defeats the point. But asking the question is good because it shows that you're trying to immediately get to the heart of what the answer is. So it's not a yes or no, it's more of a thought process exercise. So the way to go about this, and I'll just, rather than going back and forth, just kind of walk you through. So first off, is this airplane just a frame? Does it have an engine in it? Are there seats in the airplane? Are there passengers in those seats? Do these passengers have luggage? Is there carry-on luggage? Is there check-on luggage? Do I have cargo in addition to the luggage and the passengers? What assumptions do I make about all that? What does a seat weigh? Where can I get the sourcing for that? How can I look that up? Do I get to look at FAA manuals? Do I get to look at manufacturer specs? How many people are on board? What's the average weight of a person? How many men, how many women? What's the average weight of those women? If it's a 50-pound carry-on bag, how many of those can I assume per passenger? How many check-on bags can I assume per passenger? What kind of cargo can I assume? So on and so forth. So the whole point of this exercise is that you can put together a set of assumptions and numbers that back the assumptions and therefore answer the question. So there's a lot more to investment banking interviewing, but those are a quick couple of tips, the right approach. So if you have any further questions, or if you want detailed answers, drop a comment below and I'll answer those.